Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the June 11th committee meetings, and we'll start with public safety and Commissioner Brockington. Please take it away.
Thank you, Mr. President. I call our meeting to order tonight for public safety at 7:32 p.m. We will start off with a report from Sergeant Brewster, who is pitch hitting for our chief tonight.
Good evening,
Sergeant
Commissioners
Brewster.
and everybody out there. The chief is wanted me to advise all you. He has at the Police Academy graduation for two of our newer recruits. They're graduating tonight. That's Officer Torzon and Officer Swanson. They'll be joining us on the street probably in another couple of weeks after some in-house training. So we look forward to that. So I'm pinch hitting for him. If everybody had a chance to review the monthly report, our crime numbers, Chief mentioned retail thefts are down, and this goes back to April, down slightly, and theft overall was down. The one category that did go up a little bit was vehicle thefts, which we're seeing. You know, we continuously post this on social media, advising residents to lock their doors of their vehicles at night. Keep remembering to do that. This is a regional problem. However, it's not just Cheltenham. It's all over. It's all the suburbs. They're seeing an uptick in vehicle theft. There's several groups going around doing that. There have been several arrests made. However, this is still continuing, not only in our area, but also in Bucks and Montgomery counties throughout there.
Great. Sergeant Brewster, with the vehicle thefts, I know at one point there was a particular type of vehicle. Is that the same thing here, or is it sort of not necessarily
previous, it was the Hondas and Kias.
The Hondas and Kias, right.
That has seemed to die down as soon as they came up with a fix for that. Unfortunately, some people possibly did not do the fix on their vehicles. However, there's no way for the criminals to know who has done the fix or not. So several, people are still going around trying to steal Kias and Hondas, unfortunately, and are damaging those vehicles. Other than that, we've seen a little bit of an uptick in the theft of Hondas. I'm not sure, they're keyless entry vehicles, so I'm not sure what. I know there have been several individuals caught with key devices to key programmers. So I'm not sure if there's, it's a technology thing there, or, what's exactly going on.
Thank you. Commissioner Ziegmanfeld, I see your hand up, sir.
Yeah, I just wanted to, and not so much for Sergeant Brewster. Thank you for pinch hitting. I just wanted to continue to raise the issue. There were 636 bus violations. And the thing I think we want to now get a little clarity on is the revenue stream that's coming. It looks like there was a detailed report by the North Penn School District, and it seems like $180 of the 300 or 60% go back to bus patrol to cover, I guess, their number. And then $25 to the local municipality, $25 to PennDOT for safety grant. And I'm assuming the balance or some portion of the balance goes to the school district. I think what we need is we need a kind of a reconciliation of all the money that's come in, because there's some, in particular, the amount of money that the school district, in fact, is receiving $100 or $120 from each of the violations that's paid for. I think it's important for us to know how that money is being used. In particular, I think that there's some safety issues. We've talked about whether there's some sharing of the expense for the the crossing guards, and also for some of the expenses that are being incurred on. I know there's some discussion of sharing for for some of the speed bumps, etc. And I just think we need a clear picture on how much of that money is being distributed. And then I think we need to start to get some lobbying done in Harrisburg, because I think the proportion of those funds that are going back to bus patrol seem to be disproportionate once they've gone through the first year or two, that they're still getting, like $125 a month for their technology platform or whatever. Just seems unfair to the municipalities who have to enforce those things. So I'm looking not so much to the police, but I'm looking to us, between our Director of Fiscal Affairs, the the school district director of fiscal affairs, and then, just the various entities to figure out what the distribution of those funds is, and then how do we influence that in Harrisburg. I think it's time to have a more significant amount of that for the community that is in fact responsible for overseeing and enforcing it. So that's my public safety contribution, not on Sergeant Brewster, but to the collection of us. We need to have more accountability there. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Chairman.
Thank you. I want to kind of add on to that too. We see the number 600, but that doesn't mean all 600 paid. So I think too, we have to look at what percentage are actually paying those tickets. If 600 tickets were written and 100 people paid, then the information that you're going to get is not going to be that much money. So we need to see what type of enforcement is made to make sure at least 80% of the people who are ticketed are paying those tickets.
Well, that's why I'm looking for financial reconciliation. So if we've probably had 20, I don't know, 7, 8, 10,000 bus patrol tickets issued in the last, year and a half or whatever. So we need to see what that net number was and paid, and then go down from there in terms of what kinds of dollars are being distributed, what money is being collected, et cetera. So I think there's no accountability there. And it's not with the police, it's with bus patrol, it's with the state having passed the legislation and not really looked out for the communities that are responsible for both the safety and protection. And then there's money that's going to the school district that potentially can be used for safety issues such as the crossing guards or the additional precautions that are being done with cushion. So, you're correct, Commissioner, that the payment levels, we don't know, but I want to see what those payment levels are, and then what distribution there is to the various entities that are involved.
I agree. Thank you, Commissioner Ziegler. Any other
Thank you.
questions in reference to the report from April 2025? All right, not seeing any. Mr. President, I call for the approval of our police chief's report for April 2025.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Sergeant Brewster, thank you very much. You can hang around in case there's any questions towards the end of the meeting. Scott, sir, where's Scott at? Does anybody see Scott? I don't see Scott on the meeting. Maybe he's out fighting a fire. But his report is there for April 2025. Were there any questions in reference to? Well, we don't have him here to answer. So I'm just going to call for the approval of our fire marshal's report for April 2025.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. We move on to Jessica now for the emergency medical service chief, Ms. Bartow. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Does anyone have any questions about the submitted report?
Commissioner Ziegler is hot tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, Jess, I noticed that our collections for billing are up this year by about $100,000, and I'm wondering if that is an accounting variation that we're now tracking things better, or if it's in fact that we are actually collecting more money, in the bills that we're issuing to the various entities that we're trying to get reimbursement from.
So it is a little bit of both. We are, you're going to have ebbs and flows as far as what we are getting paid. What we have found is that the more people that we have that are Medicare, Medicaid payers, the quicker we turn around payment on those. So some months, depending on the age of, and the situation of the insured, it's going to depend on how much money we're actually bringing in that month. Commercial insurances, your Blue Cross, Aetna, Cigna, and all of that, they usually take longer to actually pay out. So there is that portion. We also did see an increase in the Medicaid reimbursement last year, and they are getting that more under control. Last year, it didn't go into effect until June, so we were seeing an increase the last 6 months of the year. But now it's actually starting to trickle down. So we're going to see a little bit more money. At this point, Medicaid pays more for EMS than Medicare does. So
Great.
that's the other thing.
Thanks for the explanation.
Thank you. Any other questions for Ms. Bartow? Not seeing or hearing any, I call for the approval of item 1C, our report from the Emergency Medical Service Chief for April 2025.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. We're going to move on now to 1D. I don't see Ken on this call. We have our Emergency Management Coordinator. His report is attached for May of 2025. Are there any, well, there's no question. If there's questions, we can't take them because Ken's not here. So I call for the approval of item 1D, Emergency Management Coordinator report for May of 2025.
Yeah, any questions could be followed up at a later time.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
for
yeah,
now,
definitely.
on the motion to approve the report, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Item 2 for the night, item 2 boards did not meet. Fire board did not meet in May, and traffic committee did not meet in May. So we're going to move on to item 3, any old business for public safety for tonight. Commissioner Rappaport.
Thanks very much. Yeah, I just wanted to remind us to stay on target on a couple of different things of old business. I did follow up and wrote a draft of that PennDOT letter about traffic calming and crosswalks, Greenwood Avenue, and hoping we can get that out or get some version of that out and get that meeting set up as soon as possible. Another piece of old business, the business parking. Not only have the outstanding problems in Glenside, but also in Wyncote, in that small commercial area that needs
And
to
in
be
Elkins
discussed.
Park.
And in Elkins Park. Thank you. And there have been assorted resident letters, particularly some special needs around the Myers school traffic and things like that. One with SEPTA and the train station there, and I don't know in Elkins Park who's in charge of liaising with SEPTA about that, or if that's something we can deal with. But I just want to make sure we're following up on those as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Rappaport. Any other items for old business for tonight? All right, we're going to move on to new business. We have 3 items tonight. Item 4A, consider recommending the Board of Commissioners present and adopt a resolution recognizing the Glenside Fire Company on the celebration of its 125th anniversary. I know Scott's not here. Does anybody want to make any comments on this at all? Okay.
I'll just say that, 125 years is a long time. Glenside's been going strong for that century and a quarter, and continue to serve our community as just a premier volunteer fire company. And it's an honor to adopt a resolution recognizing their amazing anniversary.
Great. So we're going to call for the approval of item 4A. Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. 4B, consider recommending the Board of Commissioners authorize advertisement and consider adoption of an ordinance amending Chapter 285, Vehicle and Traffic, Section 285-43, Street and Parking Regulations at the Cheltenham Township Code to amend the traffic regulation to remove a handicap parking at 1714 Chelsea Road in Cheltenham. Mr. President, I call for approval of that item.
Any comments or questions? All right, seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 And we have one additional item. Consider recommending the Board of Commissioners authorize and advertise and consider the adoption of an ordinance amending Chapter 285, Vehicle and Traffic, Section 285-43, Street and Parking Regulation at the Cheltenham Township Code to amend the traffic regulation to remove a handicap parking at 7301 Glen Oak Road in Elkins Park. Mr. President?
I'll take that as a motion for.
Hey,
approval.
can I just point
Any
out one
questions?
thing?
Yes.
Yeah. So that address is incorrect. There's not as far as I know, there's not a 7301 Glen Oak. I believe it's 7901. I could be wrong, but I'm virtually positive that there's not a 7301 Glen Oak Road. So I don't know if that makes a difference. I'm sure it probably does, but maybe
Well,
we can.
we can make sure we have that corrected in our meeting next Wednesday when we take the
Yeah.
final vote.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Manager Elliott, something we could check on?
Thank you, Commissioner Cherko.
Okay.
All right. So go ahead, Mr. President.
Yeah, so the motion to consider recommending the advertisement and adoption of the ordinance with a possible amendment. Any comments or questions? All right, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Thank you. Thank you,
So we're
Commissioner Jericho.
Thank you. We're going to move on to item 5 now with citizen forum for public safety. Let's see. I don't see anybody.
We have Brooke.
See any-
Hey,
Brooke has her
I'm sorry,
hand up.
Brooke. I missed you. Go ahead, Brooke.
Hey, hi everybody. How are you?
Hey, Brooke.
I live in Wyncote. I am coming on tonight. I just want to make a statement about something that happened over Memorial Day weekend in Robinson Park. And I wasn't sure, I'm kind of looking for some advice from the township and, from authorities as to how to best proceed with all of this if we need to. So long story short, and I don't want to go into too much detail about it because it's really upsetting. If you want more detail, I'm happy to give it, but I'll also keep this short. There were 3 geese that were baby geese that were killed in the park over Memorial Day weekend. And there were eyewitnesses that saw one of the geese being harmed, and he had children with him. He confronted the children that were behaving badly, and there were adults there on both sides. And there was a lot of terse language that went on. The next day, there were 2 more geese that were found bound in such a way that it wasn't a predator or an animal that killed them. It was done by people. And over the past, in the recent past, we've had incidents observed of, younger teenage boys coming through the park and engaging in animal cruelty to the fish, to the koi, to the geese, to other wildlife that live in the park. And when they're confronted, they're usually really crude to whoever's confronting them, telling them basically just to like off. And there have been incidents with some of the people that have been fishing in the park where people have been asked to kind of pick up their lines and their hooks, and residents have been accosted by these people. So I'm not we've been really upset about this as in the community, and I'm just wondering that how do we best manage what appears to be this issue in our park?
Are the police aware of this? I'm assuming you guys did call the police.
I believe that the police were notified on at least 1 occasion, maybe 2. My mother, Teresa, came across the geese that were bound up, took photographs of them, sent them to Bob Dominic. I think she submitted a statement to him as well about it. But I think what's more concerning for us, the animal cruelty itself is very upsetting, but we're particularly concerned that we've got kids in our neighborhood that are perpetuating this cruelty in an otherwise serene and peaceful community setting. And so I'm just curious if there's anything that we could, if there's anything more we could do. I'm concerned about the outreach.
Sergeant Brewster, can you step in there?
Yes, I would recommend that you ensure that it is reported to the police. It may have been, I'm not exactly sure, but we do have an animal control officer that could look into the allegations you've made. I haven't heard anything in particular about that park. It doesn't mean it wasn't reported, but in particular of anything you witnessed and dates, times. And if you see these, these kids in the park again, certainly call so we could possibly go and have a conversation with them.
Okay.
additionally, we'll determine if there, what exactly occurred. We can launch an investigation in that regard. Additionally, recently we've reinstituted, we have a hybrid position as far as our community service specialist, which includes patrols of the park. So we can advise them that to keep an eye on that park in particular for the activity, especially if you know like an exact time of when these individuals are gathering in there. If you have something in particular, they can look out for that, and then they can advise us here in the police department if they observe something going on. But I would first recommend to report that to us.
Okay,
Brooke, do you know, or does anyone have an idea of where these people live?
We don't.
You don't know their names or have any idea?
All I know is I know the neighbor who lives near the park, who confronted the children that were going after one of the Goslings, and there were parents there as well.
Yeah, I'm equally concerned about the fact that
we
we have. Yeah, I mean that's concerning, and it's a small community. So, please, if we find out who they are, we can at least report that to police, even if it's after the fact. I think we should be aware, do what we can to identify who they are, especially if they're continuing to do this sort of thing. That's very, very concerning.
And you could provide that information to the reporting officer and the other persons you said witnessed it. You provide their information. We could speak with them. Certainly try and identify if you know more. Obviously, probably best to tell it offline. But
Sergeant Brewster, would it be wise, instead of going after those particular people, is just to call 911?
Correct. I would recommend not to confront them, especially since it sounds like there was some sort of confrontation with words exchanged. You never know what people are capable of these days. So it's probably best to just call us, let us handle it, and have the conversation. And
Lauren, I see your hand up.
Whatever else you need to.
Lauren, I see your hand up, and then Commissioner Rappaport.
Thank you. I just wanted to jump in to let you know that I saw the email that went out from the Friends of Robinson about this. And then I reached out to the animal control officer, and at that time she had she wasn't aware of the incident. So I informed her. She said that she will add extra patrol of her own to the park when she can. And she's been playing phone tag with retired game warden Jerry Check and PA and Fish and Boat Commission Erin Check about a public service announcement that we can put out just about fishing laws from the public advisement end. But I would just echo again what Sergeant Brewster said about calling 911 when the incident is occurring.
Okay, and if you get more about posting fishing laws and whatnot, please let Friends of Robinson Park know, because we can also spread that information as well through our channels.
Will do.
Yeah. Thank you, Brooke. Commissioner Rappaport, did I see your hand up?
Yeah, thank you. Well, also, if y'all are witnessing this, as soon as you get done calling 911, take some pictures of the kids doing it in the act. Keeping your distance, but then you can also expand the picture and see, and be able to identify them. So
yeah, I know that people have had incidents with these kids, like seeing them do less harmful things, like just kind of throwing stuff into the pond, like logs and rocks and all this kind of stuff, and being told, oh, you shouldn't be doing that. And then they just, like, there's one kid in particular that's really snippy and really nasty, but I don't think that the people that were doing the confronting, whether they had their phones or they thought to use their phones.
Well, you're asking for advice going forward, 911 and taking pictures.
Okay.
I think that, you've already seen that the nice confrontation doesn't work.
Well, I feel like, the taking pictures could cause issues, because that can make the situation escalate. I just push for the calling 911.
I would just recommend keeping your distance and calling 911. You don't want any kind of conversation.
That's what my concern is. Yeah, that's my concern is. Okay, but thank you, Brooke. It's on our radar.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Any other items for citizen forum for tonight?
Irv, can I add to that real quick?
Yes, you can, sir.
A little late to the party, and I don't know how the Friends of Robinson feel, but I feel like perhaps some active programming could help out, like maybe engage the kids in a positive activity rather than chase them away.
Sure.
That's
Yeah,
our
we
Parks
do
and
have-
Recs
we do
guy.
have a lot. We do have a lot of kids that come down and
Yeah.
fish. We've seen more kids fishing over the last few weeks, especially since the aerator's been on. So maybe there's something that we can kind of parlay with you around putting something together that's a little bit more organized. We'd be happy to do that with you.
Right, and a lot of times when kids see that there's structured things going on, they go another direction, or they want to know what's going on, they participate. So it might be the way to go.
Okay,
Rather than
yeah,
like, let's take pictures and chase them away or call the cops, like, let's engage them.
all right, thanks.
Nice one, Bill. I love that. Any other items for citizen forum for tonight? Not seeing or hearing, I call for the adjournment of public safety. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.